we're talking about Airbnb's all-in-one pricing. Airbnb's all-in-one pricing, it is essentially we'll get into the details of like what to do, how to do it, all the nitty-gritty details of actionable items that you guys need to be taking, and maybe some things just to think about. Maybe not a change that you need to do, but just something to maybe implement, maybe not, depending on your situation. So I will share my screen here in one sec, but I did want to mention last week's episode, last Wednesday, STR Q&A. If you didn't catch it, we talk about how to screen your guests, how to protect your Airbnb, mistakes that I screwed up on. I think there was like 7 or 8 things that you need to do pre and post booking. If you didn't watch that one, go back and rewatch that episode. It is super, super insightful, and it will save you a lot of headache, a lot of money. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Once again, drop your questions below. Drop your questions below, and then I will answer them at the end. So Airbnb's all-in-one pricing. So this is a new thing that has just came out. I started to see it maybe a month ago. It was kind of trickling into our different accounts at different listings. But now I think they have rolled it out to everybody. So it is the all-in-one pricing. Gecko, what's going on? Thanks for watching. All-in-one pricing. So what that means is essentially when a guest goes to your wow, that's a reservation. It's been a long day. When a guest goes to your listing and sees the property that you have or multiple properties, all of your pricing is put on that front page versus in the past, if you're just starting out and you're not sure how all that worked in the past, they would see like the nightly rate on that first page, and then they would select their dates, select their pets, kids, all that, and then they would go to a second page, and then it would have all the fees breakdown. Like, okay, cleaning fee, $200, pet fee, another $200, Airbnb service fee, another $200. So that like $400 stay on the front page turned into an $800 stay on the second page, and it just pissed people off, rightfully so. I always view it as like when I'm looking at Ticketmaster or SeatGeek, any of those, you've got a ticket for $30, and then you go to the checkout page and somehow it is doubled in price. Airbnb, Vrbo, all these platforms are fighting that same uphill battle. So the goal is to be more transparent with pricing. I think it's a good thing for the industry in general. Now, some hosts are going to get pissed off, and it is what it is. But I think it's a good thing for the industry, because Airbnb is fighting like all these hidden fees. Hosts, like let's try and do well for the guests. Like let's try and simplify the pricing, like not having fees for every like line item. Oh, you want laundry? Oh, that's an additional $10. You want a heated pool? Additional $200. You want coffee? Okay, additional $10. Like don't be that host. Now, there is a rhyme and reason of some of those fees. Like if you're providing concierge service or a high level amenity that takes work, like a private chef. I think the pool heating was a good example that I probably shouldn't have used. That was not a dumb fee, but there is some legwork to get that pool heated, and some prep time and making sure it's working, and the additional costs with utility and things like that. So I'm fine with those fees. Now, one thing to mention is, let me add this one, and then we'll kind of get into it. So FTC, this is mandatory from the FTC. So Federal Trade Commission this is going to be rolling out across all platforms, Ticketmaster, any booking platform. So you'll start seeing that across if you're booking anything online. Now, I got a ton of messages this week saying like, holy crap, like what's going on with the pricing? Oh my God, like the sky is falling. Anytime Airbnb changes, like hosts just freak out. They freak the what out. Guys, it's gonna be fun. Everybody's in the same boat. Everybody, that's why you're subscribed here. Thank you guys for watching. I am on the up and up. I'm going through this as well, and I don't know everything, but I am showing you exactly what I'm doing and the strategy that we're doing internally to hopefully you can apply for free. There is no charge here. I just asked, share the show. There was a big stink about saying like, okay, Airbnb said a couple weeks ago, it was in every freaking Facebook post. You can't add additional fees other outside the platform fees, like early check-in, late checkout, all these like additional fees. But what actually happens is, as long as the fee is listed on the listing in the house rules and on the description, you can charge those fees. It's not like you can't charge a pet fee if they are bringing a pet. It's not like you can't charge an early check-in fee if they want that service. Now, what you cannot do is not put it on the listing and then charge it later. Like, security deposit. That's a really pertinent example. If you have a security deposit, which pros and cons, we don't do it. There are scenarios where we do it, but having those fees separately in a listing, like, okay, if we charge a security deposit, here is the scenario where we charge a security deposit. That's fine as long as it's clearly listed. Now, with it being very new, there are times I've had hosts where they're like, hey, it's on the listing. Guest complains to Airbnb. Airbnb reaches out to the host. And as long as you have it buttoned up, Airbnb will side with you. I talked to a host this week that guests got pissed off, and turns out they were fine. They had it on the listing. Obviously, the guest didn't read it, but they were buttoned up from a hosting perspective. That's all that you need to know, is put it on your listing and make it crystal clear, and direct guests. Hey, did you see paragraph 4 sentence 2? Like, this is where we collect the security deposit. Did you happen to read that by chance? It just covers your tail, and then covers your what when Airbnb comes a knocking. So let me kind of Gecko, what's up? How we doing? Great. Galaxy, thanks for watching. All right, so review cleaning on all fees. So this is something so now kind of moving into the actionable items of what do we do with this info? Yes, this is changing, but what are the actionable things that we need as hosts to make sure we're compliant, making sure everything is buttoned up, because this is not a set it and forget it. I would say, I actually did I brought up a point a couple weeks ago where we would, to spur like struggling listings, let's say we're underperforming by 10%. To spur struggling listings, we would reduce the cleaning fee. Like, let's say our cleaners charge us $200 and we were charging the guest $200. What we would do is we would be like, okay, we're going to charge $180 to be a little bit more competitive, because the data says to charge, most people are charging $175. Maybe we move it from $200 to $175 and we lose $15 to be more competitive to get that reservation. Now, that is still pertinent here, but it is all still lumped into the accommodation fare. So if you're charging, let's say, easy math, $200 a night, your cleaning fee is $200. It is going to show $400 for a one-night stay there and $600 for a 2-night stay. It's not going to have $200 times 2 plus 200. I wish I had like a little iPad graphic. Hopefully that'll help. But I would say review all your fees. Now, it's a less effective strategy now because they're grouping everything into one. There's less psychology and less freedom as hosts that we can do. But as long as you don't have like multiple different fees, I would be willing to bet Airbnb, like the algorithm penalizes you for having all these additional fees. So make sure you're reviewing all your cleaning fees, and then all your like other add-on, management fee, pool heating fee, like all those. Just make sure you're reviewing those in depth. Another one here that is not really mentioned is simplifying your checkout instructions. Nobody's really talking about this. They're all going to call about the pricing stuff. Just simplify checkout instructions. They specifically mentioned vacuuming and laundry. Don't ask for guests to do laundry or to vacuum the property. This is something that we're actually going to be changing with our listings because it is very new. But don't ask for vacuuming and laundry. We say like broom sweep, just like, get all the big stuff up. Like, we're not asking to clean. We actually have guests keep their laundry on. We just say, put it in a pile, towels in a pile, keep the beds. Like, our cleaners will take care of the laundry here. So simplifying the checkout instructions, that is very, very important. Nobody's really mentioning that. I wanted to definitely put that in here because it is very important. So one thing that I've read, I haven't seen this piece right here regarding the cancellation policy. I read multiple articles that said the strict policy is going away. They said certain regions, they were very vague, probably on purpose, but I think they kind of slipped this in there to see host sentiment on it. So full disclosure, we use like the firm and strict cancellation policy, depending on the listing, depending on the market and what other people are doing in our comp set. So this would really affect if strict is going away, because there's markets that we operate in where 90% of hosts have strict cancellation. So it's not like people don't care, but if it goes away for one person, it's going away for everybody. So it's like, okay, if everybody goes from strict to firm, I think firm is the next most strict one. Actually, there is one thing that this came up this week, and I wanted to touch on. I forgot to write. So cancellation policy. I'm just going to monitor the strict going away. I don't know if that's accurate. Hopefully not. But you'll be the first to know. Non-refundable option. So I think this is, I saw this on a Facebook post, that the non-refundable option. So when you go to Airbnb, and so let me kind of zoom out a little bit. A non-refundable option is, as a host, you have a setting that says, do you want to offer a non-refundable stay? The guest gets an additional 10% off. And from a hosting perspective, the cancellation policy is out of the window. It doesn't matter when people cancel, it's non-refundable. There is no refund. Doesn't matter if you cancel it, 3 months in the future or 3 hours in the future. There is no non-refundable. So I will say that we have clients that have this non-refundable option, but 100% of the time, Airbnb still message you and say like, hey, do you want to have an exception? Do you want to give this guest a refund because you're a nice host, even though they selected a non-refundable option? No, like that was the point of the non-refundable option, Airbnb. Come on, get it together. So the point here is, if you're a host and you have the non-refundable option turned on, like checked, I do want to offer a non-refundable option, make sure you understand how it works. From the guest side, if you have that turned on, it automatically checks the box for them, where it automatically, let's say you have $1,000 stay. If the host has the toggle non-refundable option checked, from the guest side, it automatically checks that box. It automatically moves it to a non-refundable option. The guest doesn't know. So that $1,000 stay turns into a $900 stay. The guest doesn't know. They have to manually uncheck the I want a refundable stay. So make sure you keep that in mind. If you have guests coming to you saying like, I didn't book a non-refundable stay, they are probably accurate. Airbnb pulled a fast one on you and I, trying to kind of sneak this in. They're going to automatically do that. I don't really understand the logic, to be honest with you, because it's a 10% discount and Airbnb makes less money on cheaper stays. Neither here nor there, but just as long as you understand how that works, make sure you use that to your advantage. Questions, drop them down below. I've got one more point, and we'll open up the floor if there's any questions. See, a lot of comments, no questions yet. Make sure, I did a whole video on this one. Make sure you value pack your title and description. That is, so, a couple of years ago, you would want to have like in your description, I'm at the school of thought where you need to just jam pack the title. Sorry, I've been saying description. Jam pack the title with like amenities, pool, hot tub, game room, king suite, 6 en suites, like whatever your unique property is. Don't say like renovated kitchen. Everybody's got a kitchen. Like, don't say 3 bedrooms. I don't really like that one anymore. Everybody's got bedrooms. So do the unique ones. So value pack the titles. On a recent one, I actually gave you one of our highest performing properties, the actual title. Let me know if you did not catch that one. I will send it to you directly. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. So value pack these, and then also in the description, having like the first couple points before they click like show more, It's called above the fold, but like it's a newspaper term where you would fold the newspaper in half and you would only see the front half. You would need to jam pack all the good stuff there. So they open the newspaper to read the rest. It's called above the fold. But make sure you have the main things at the top of your description above that fold. So make sure you value pack that. If you guys want like a, I will actually kind of doing this on the fly. If you send me your listing, I will do a audit live, pending your permission, and I'll give you actionable tips. Shoot me a message on Instagram I will put my Instagram handle in the comment down below. Shoot me your listing. I will do a complete audit. I've charged hundreds of dollars for audits here, but if you want one, shoot me a DM. So any questions? I do not have any questions. Thank you 333. Thank you for the love. Appreciate it. Other than that, let's go ahead and wrap up. 17 minutes. Hopefully it's been jam-packed for you guys. See you guys next week. Once again, Friday, I will not be streaming. All right. Thanks, everybody.